This is probably, if not the worst, one of the worst air quality times that we've ever been in right now.
Tonight, a smoky haze once again settling over northeast Wisconsin, bringing with it unhealthy air.
This is a rapidly and dynamic changing situation. So we just want folks to be aware.
Health officials warn of spending too much time out in the smoke, and the future remains uncertain among record-breaking fires scorching Canada.
Which may be months before some of the Canadian forest fires are extinguished.
Our team coverage begins now in tonight's First Alert Weather Day. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Take a look at this drone footage that we shot earlier today around 11:30 this morning. It shows smoky conditions once again across Green Bay and the surrounding area. The gray skies really blanketing all of northeast Wisconsin at this point. We've been tracking those numbers too, which now show the De Pere area under unhealthy conditions.
Throughout the day, northeast Wisconsin has been on the cusp of unhealthy to very unhealthy air. Those statistics prompting us to continue our First Alert Weather Day. In team coverage tonight, our reporters are standing by with how officials are monitoring the conditions and how time spent outside can impact your health. But first, meteorologist David Ernst breaks down the numbers affecting the area right now. David.
Bill, Cammie, really, the graphic behind me, just the colors tell it all. I'm sure your eyes are drawn right here to Wisconsin, the worst of the air quality down towards Kentucky, Tennessee, and then back up into the eastern Great Lakes. Now, the absolute worst that we're seeing is there in northeastern parts of Ohio, where the air quality has at times today been stuck in that hazardous range, but we still have some of the worst air quality right in the country in northeastern Wisconsin. There has been some slight improvement here over the last couple of hours. Earlier today, we had a lot of the area in that very unhealthy category above 200 with that air quality index, and now we're at least slipping back down into the 100s. But make no mistake about it, that air is still unhealthy, and our air quality advisory will remain in effect until at least the lunch hour tomorrow. So anybody, regardless of whether you have some sort of health ailment or you're perfectly healthy, should be limiting your time outside. The poorest of the air, as we're seeing, will stay in southwestern Wisconsin, but likely starts to build back into the area overnight into tomorrow morning as westerly winds take over. But through the day tomorrow, we should see that air begin to clean up. Now, there will be the potential for some storms as that's happening. Right now, just a few spotty showers in northern Wisconsin. What we're watching for will be that activity you see popping up just east of the Twin Cities. That is likely to intensify over the next few hours, and we could have some storms coming in overnight. But again, even though some of those might be strong, it will help to clean the air out over the course of tomorrow. So we'll be talking more about those storms and our air quality concerns coming up.
David, thank you. Taking another look today at those fires currently burning in Canada. The red markers here show that more than 480 active fires are going on right now. 11 of them started just today.
The conditions caused by those fires now impacting popular outdoor events and activities. Our crews have briefly stepped outside for these reports tonight. Emily Byer joining us live in downtown Green Bay from the Farmers Market. Emily.
Yeah, Cammie and Bill here at the Farmers Market on Broadway. Organizers telling us that this is something they haven't had to navigate before. Of course, they've seen heat, they've seen rain, and now with these lingering air quality issues, organizers telling us to really encourage your best judgment here tonight because it can impact everyone so differently. More than 17.7 million acres have already burned this year in Canada compared to last year, which saw about 3.5 to 4 million acres burn. Canada now breaking an annual record for wildfire smoke emissions. These conditions can quickly change hour to hour with these hazy, smoky skies. Local DNR workers telling us they're continuing to monitor conditions with their partners in Ontario and Manitoba.
And a lot of these fires that are burning are in areas where they can't extinguish the fires, or they're because they're in such remote areas, or they just don't have the staff. They've brought in firefighters from France, from Italy, Australia, Mexico. And so they have a lot of partners helping them to extinguish these fires.
These wildfires continuing to spread. According to NPR, parts of Europe now seeing these smoky, hazy skies. Bill and Cammie.
Emily, thank you. With this prolonged event, many of us wondering how much exposure is too much when the air quality is this unhealthy.
And Brittany Smith tried to answer that question for us today. She's joins us now live in Green Bay. Brittany.
Cammie and Bill, I talked to 3 experts throughout the state today, and the simple answer is they just don't know. As the Canadian wildfire smoke continues to blanket Wisconsin, experts say it's difficult to pinpoint the toxins in the air right now.
I know there are some concerns. I think I saw an email about formaldehyde and other chemicals. Yeah, so burning the fires creates that. How much of that right now is in our air is not something I've been able to find.
UW Health allergist Dr. Eric Schauberger says the smoke from Canada is also difficult to put into context because it's not the same thing as smoke from a cigarette. But he says the health effects on lungs are somewhat equivalent. If we look at the exposure level right now in Green Bay, from the airnow.gov website, we are sitting at an air quality index around 200.
So if you were outside the entire day, I read an AQI of 150 is about 7 cigarettes a day if you were outside for the entire 24 hours. So being outside for a few hours probably is an equivalent right now of possibly a couple cigarettes.
Exposure also depends on the size of the particle. Current pollutant particles in the air are around 2.5 microns,
which can penetrate the body's natural defense systems, get into the bloodstream, get into the lining of the lungs, and cause inflammation and aggravation of either underlying conditions or create symptoms that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Experts say everyone should limit their time outdoors, especially children.
Because their airways are smaller, but they also, I will tell you, do not do a very good job of verbalizing their symptoms.
Plus, it's a good idea to keep an eye on the airnow.gov website to monitor the rapidly changing situation, especially as we head into a holiday.
It doesn't mean that you have to cancel plans or you have to change anything about your day-to-day routine. But if you're planning, if you see that it's going to be at an unhealthy level on a certain day, the recommendation would be instead of spending 2 hours out on a pontoon, maybe you spend 1 hour.
When limiting your time outdoors, masks certainly help, but they are not 100%. Keep in mind, these particles are tiny. According to the EPA, a single strand of hair is 30 times bigger than one of these particles circulating in the air right now. Bill?
Well, Brittany, thank you. Another family member to look out for, of course, when the air is bad, your pets. At the Wisconsin Humane Society in Green Bay, the poor air quality means significantly less time outdoors for the dogs. While they regularly get to spend time together in outdoor pens, now the dogs only get short walks and no playtime. Dogs with respiratory problems can only get quick bathroom breaks.
You want to decrease the amount of outdoor strenuous activities. So the play yards, this is where the dogs like run after balls, anything that gets you like heavy breathing. So instead of taking runs with your pets, you want to definitely tone that down to shorter walks.
Experts also advise keeping windows closed and monitor your pets for any signs of respiratory distress or discomfort, such as coughing, sneezing, wheezing, or trouble breathing. If you notice any concerning symptoms, reach out to your vet right away for their care.
As that smoke begins to seep farther south and into the Northeast as well, the Midwest continues to see the worst air quality impact right now. Video out of Chicago, Minneapolis, and Milwaukee showing familiar gray skies and hazy conditions. ABC is now reporting that Chicago has the worst air quality in the entire world. In some areas, skylines have become barely visible as smoke settles across our region of the country.
As we continue our coverage, we will also have the latest information and resources on air quality numbers, health information, and potential cancellations at WBAY.com. First alert traffic warning for you now just into our newsroom in southern Brown County. This is a live look now from the DOT traffic camera on Highway 172 looking eastbound from Ashland Avenue. You can see the traffic snarl there in the eastbound lanes just a bit. The DOT reporting a crash on the ramp from Vanderpern Way has the right lane blocked in certain areas. As we have crews now following the situation for you. We'll have updates as we learn more about it.